Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing today?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmah.
Who's you guys?
You guys, the viewers, leave a comment. What do you mean?
Okay. No, you're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
bad.
All right. So we're back here, new Deentour this week. We're taking a bit of a curveball this week. So, there's something we wanted to address. A lot of people, they try to cast doubts in our heart these days. And a lot of people, they want to disrespect our way of life. And that's what we're talking about this week. We're talking about why Islam is the truth. And, not just like the truth in general, but also like why is the truth in us? Why do we believe we're guided on the right path?
I mean, yeah, it's an important topic. There's thousands of religions today. And why would people, it's okay to ask, why would you choose Islam for your way of life?
Yeah.
You understand? So it is a valid question. It should be answered. And we're going to answer it today.
So we're going to be talking about things like, how did it become the truth to us? Like what was instilled in us that it was the truth? Speaking about we may have been born into a family that taught us Islam and all that stuff, but like how we found it ourselves and like what stands out to us in terms of like why it's the truth for us and why, other faiths don't like bring out that type of truthfulness to us. And, why Islam, like the beauty of Islam is like something that we see as the reason why we're on this podcast today.
Yeah, most importantly, the logic,
Yeah.
Me, I'm a logical person. I like to think everything with logic. It needs to make sense. It needs to have a reason,
Mm-hmm. And Islam does bring that. For me, the one thing that stood out the most to me was the Quran. But the Quran, the wisdom that is within it, it's like no other.
For me, it was literally everything about the Quran. From the recitation of the Quran, from what the Quran says, how the Quran was brought about, everything.
From the meaning, from everything.
SubhanAllah.
And I think if we're going to talk about why Islam is the truth, well, it's literally, you have to bring up the Quran. You can't leave it out. If for those of you that don't know, it's the religious doctrine of the Muslims. It's the Quran. So the Christians have the Bible. We have the Quran.
I got some interesting things to talk about. So all right. So I'll start for myself. So like, for me, I was born into a Muslim family. These are my brothers. They know exactly what I'm talking about. We were basically all raised up the same way. I was sent to Sunday school and all this type of stuff. I was taught the things of Islam. Obviously, as a younger kid, it wasn't something that I was fond of. I wanted to just play around. I wanted to play on my game. I wanted to play outside. I wanted to play sports, all this type of stuff. I wanted to be a kid. But see, obviously, there's benefit in my parents teaching me, how to pray. Teaching me how to read surahs, like the smaller surahs in the back of the Quran, and all that type of stuff. But ultimately, it was me. It was me who had to find it myself. I didn't find true Islam until I found it with myself, until I was like, this is something I need to do. Like I want to learn now. I started going and I started watching lectures. I started reading books, finding out like the stories of the prophets. I started reading Quran. I started really trying to like look at the meaning of the Quran. There's translation in the Quran, right? But it doesn't tell you exactly what that means because that English is so elegant. The English is elegant, and then the Arabic is like, it's like an Arabic that you don't see today. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see people who speak that type of Arabic today, who speak with that sort of like professionalness and formalness. And it's like, it's an Arabic that was never seen before. Even at the time that the Quran was revealed, this Arabic, nobody knew it. Nobody knew this type of Arabic. It was too beautiful. It was too elegant for them.
Just remember the Quran coming down. Alif Lam Mim. Yeah, tell me what it means. No one knows even to this day what that means.
Even to this day, that is something that only Allah knows.
And he declares this in the Quran. But the beautiful thing about the Quran is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses every single types of people. Like he just said, he said that we were raised in a Muslim household, but he didn't just follow it just because his parents told him to. He followed it because he chose him to. In the Quran, they address the same type of people. Do you guys follow what your forefathers follow, even though they weren't guided?
Yeah, bro, I was going to bring that up. Like, a lot of people, they say, oh, I follow this because my parents taught me this. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, he says, just because your parents follow something does not mean it was right. Like, he tells you to find out for yourself. Mm-hmm. He gave you a mind of your own. Why don't you think for yourself? Your parents aren't the ones who think for you. That's why everything in Islam starts when you get to the age of maturity. Once you're mature enough to think for yourself, once you're mature enough to start making your own decisions, to be able to say, oh, I want to choose this, or I want to do this, or I want this for myself because this is better for me. Your parents don't have the right to make that decision for you anymore. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you to do that. That's why I got to a point where I had to find Islam for myself. I had to start like wanting it for myself. My heart was in a spot where it was like, the religion is no longer forced upon me. My parents, they were like, okay, you know what? You're going to do you. Like, I've taught you what you needed to be taught. I've done what I needed to do. Now it's up to you. If you find it, you find it. If not, then the penalty on me is no longer being held. But obviously, like parents, they will always care. And once they seen that, like, oh, I was getting like trying to do better on my deen. You know, I was praying, I was reading Quran, I was like learning hadith. You know, I was doing all this type of stuff. Like now we're out here trying to preach the beauty of Islam. They see that as such a good thing. Like, you know, what they did worked, and it did. You know, like my parents, they're a huge part of where I am today. Like, I owe that all to them because they're a gift from Allah. They're a blessing from Allah.
I mean, look, just thinking about it, like, imagine we grew up in a household where 2 + 2 = 4, but then the next household grows up thinking 2 + 2 = 5. If that person, you know, comes up to you saying 2 + 2 = 4, right? Are you gonna ridicule that person? Are you gonna slander this person just because, you know, they tell you, you know, just because you think 2 + 2 = 5 does not mean that's what it actually is. You know, you have to actually find the truth. You have to actually know why 2 + 2 actually.
You have to have
4.
an ambition to find the truth. You can't just take what people give you.
You know,
where's the
back to
logic
the
in
reason
that?
of following your forefathers. I mean, yeah, just because your forefathers thought 2 + 2 = 5 does not actually mean 2 + 2 = 5. Like,
Exactly.
You know what's crazy is like some of the motivation that came from this episode were a lot of people who want to attack Muslims who say like, oh, like this is a false religion or this is an antichrist religion or something like that. And I just want to say, where did we go saying to other faiths, you know, specifically like, you know, bigger faiths like Christians or Jews or Buddhists or whatever, where did we go like attacking them, telling them that their religion is false? We say we believe ours is the truth. At the end of the day, what does it say in Surah Al-Kafirun? Lakum dinukum waliya din.
You have your way.
For you have your way, I have my way.
Yes.
I'm not attacking nobody. I'm out here spreading the truth of Islam my way, like because this is my faith. This is what I believe is the truth.
Look, and now that you bring up our attackers, it is only befitting that we rebuttal. You cannot call Islam a devil religion or an antichrist religion without bringing forth evidence. You cannot call a religion that says worship God a devil religion. What type of person are you?
Look,
what does that say about you?
I want you guys to think about this. You viewers especially, I want you guys to think about this. Hindus don't agree with Buddhists. Buddhists don't agree with Christians. Christians don't agree completely with
Jewish.
With Jews. You see, they all don't agree with, and none of them they agree with Islam for the most, right? Why do they all come for Islam instead of debating each other? Why don't they all attack each other?
Yeah, why don't the
do they
Jews
all
debate
just
the Christians?
choose Islam? Why? Because they're afraid of Islam.
Because of the
Islam hasn't
strength.
liberalized.
Yeah.
Islam hasn't fallen like how they have fallen. Islam stands strong,
Islam stands-
unfazed.
Islam
will
stands
still
strong today,
prevail.
yes.
Yeah, the strength in our faith. The strength
deen-
in our faith, man.
Yeah, the deen
Well,
is the deen, even if nobody follows it.
Islam will always stay strong. Why? It's because it's been here since the beginning of time. You know what? Recently, I searched up the definition of Christianity. Not to like bash any Christians, but I searched up the definition of Christianity. It said following the way of Jesus Christ, like
Yeah,
his
right.
way. What about the people before Jesus Christ?
Exactly.
So, but
Before-
Islam is always here. Islam means the submission to one God, the true God, your creator. It's submission to him. That if you submit to him, you have found Islam.
Exactly. So, you know, we're going to break that down. So, if you guys didn't just understand what he's saying, let me break it down for you. Christian is someone who follows Christ. So, before Jesus, there was no Christian. Before Judah, there was no Judaism. Before Buddha, there was no Buddhism, you know, and so on. You see, all these religions are all named after somebody. But you see, Islam is not Muhammadism. Islam is Islam. Islam is, you know, what stands unique is Islam is not named after anybody. Islam, you know, is interpreted in two ways. Either means it comes from the word aslama, right? So which means to submit, or it means peace. The truth is, it means both. You submit to God and you achieve peace. No Islam, no peace. Simple as that, right? And it's a very simple concept. You know, people's biggest misconception of Islam is thinking that Islam came from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and not knowing that Islam is actually from the time of Adam and from Noah to Jesus to Moses to Muhammad, peace be upon all the prophets.
And what you will find is really interesting. They all preach the same message, to worship one God. If you look at Jesus' first commandment, it's literally the Shahada.
Yeah.
It's literally
Hear,
the
O
Shahada.
children of Israel, your Lord is one.
Yes, your Lord is one. This is what Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam preached. But then they will call us a devil religion. Why? I don't know. And they don't bring forth evidence.
No, wait. Listen, why? Like, first off, they bring no substance with them when they call us something like that. First off, why don't you look at who the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was? First off, his dad died before he was born. His mother died when he was 6. The man, he came as a prophet. He was illiterate. He was a Bedouin from the middle of Arabia in a place where the most corrupt people lived. He came from a tribe that was so corrupt that he had to leave them. He had to not associate himself with them
wanted to kill
anymore.
him for saying worship one God.
Yeah, they wanted
That's
to
how corrupt
kill him.
they were.
They slandered him. They threw rocks at him. They spat at him.
An orphan.
And they come out here telling us that this is a devil religion. Why would the devil tell us to worship God and to not follow the devil?
But look, even look, they did this with all the prophets. They did the same thing to Jesus when he came to children of Israel. They said it was nothing but magic. And so on with all the other prophets. They laughed at Noah when he was building the ark.
Yes.
Look, Yeah, no, they ridiculed all the prophets, but nobody was tried harder than the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. That's why he's held in the highest status of all mankind.
And look at how fast Islam spread in the eastern lands in the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. You're gonna tell me that was from the devil? You're gonna tell me that? When you see this doctrine that comes and claims to be the last message from God, the doctrines before didn't claim to be the last message, but we have this doctrine. So obviously there's a doctrine after all the other doctrines that claims to be the last message, and that is the Quran. And then you're gonna call it a devil religion? You're just like those who ridiculed Noah, ridiculed Jesus, ridiculed Moses. You're just like them.
We can't think we're any different. We're gonna be tested too.
Yes.
We're gonna come with the message of Islam. People are gonna ridicule us. They're gonna slander us. They're gonna talk about us. They're gonna try to come after us. But at the end of the day, we have to preach Islam. We're gonna be tested too as Muslims. We can't say we're upright believers and not be tested. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of creation to Allah. He was tried the most, and like you said, this is why he's held in the highest status, regard, yes. Even though he is he's
literally the most influential man to walk the planet.
Now, look, I saw a comment yesterday on I think it may have been Instagram or something, and someone showed a video of like humans, I guess like are related species or something like that, like Homo erectus, those things like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
So then they were like, yeah, this is what real science says. This is real like evolution, blah blah blah, that type of stuff.
Like Charles Darwin?
Yeah, and then look, and then the people in the comments, they were giving so much agreement. They were like, yeah, people want to believe a magic guy in the sky, or people don't want to believe the truth right in front of them. And I was like, or someone was like, they want to believe that two people just came down to Earth and started a whole what's it called, species or whatever, and like survived or whatever, that type of stuff. Yeah, started a whole population. And I want to know what y'all would have said to that.
Everyone's an atheist until you put them in a tough spot. Everyone's an atheist until the plane starts shaking, there's really bad turbulence, and they pray to, oh God. Bro, no one's an atheist. I've said this before. I truly believe no one's an atheist. Everyone believes in something.
Of course, everyone.
They take their desires as their God.
Worship.
Yes, they take the money as God. They take their... Bro, I saw something that they're saying... I saw one Muslim woman talking about how... She showed a picture of people worshiping idols back then and how people look towards music artists now. They take their music, they take their artists as idols.
Look, listen.
They take them as gods. Like, you see, everyone's gonna say, theory of evolution, Charles Darwin. Bro,
he was capped. That more than all of us.
He was capped, bro. You don't even know who Charles Darwin is, but you're gonna believe him?
Look, listen, think about it. This is what they guide their worship to. Mm-hmm. This is literally what they follow. They believe in all this stuff more than
it is illogical. And the thing, and it's like, go back to logic. It is more logical for me to live my life this way in accordance to God and end up dying having lost 20 minutes out of my day every day.
Look, listen.
Than to not follow this way of life and then just die and what do you mean? Have to suffer.
What do you mean by 20 minutes a day? Because what do you get after you pray? You get peace. You get the reassurance. Yeah. You feel rejuvenated. You didn't lose that. You didn't lose nothing. What do you mean? You didn't lose no 20 minutes a day.
You're right.
And on top of that, look, listen. If we're gonna talk about atheists and we're gonna go to logic and all of that. We're not even going to talk about morality or any of that. Let me just tell you this. If I have this microphone right here and I tell you this microphone just came from nothing, you're going to look at me so crazy. Mm-hmm. Now imagine how crazy I should look at you for saying that the whole universe and all the galaxies and everything just came from nothing. How crazy should I look at you just for you to say this all came from chance? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Like, seriously, how crazy do you look saying that?
Now, I don't respond to anybody who wants to attack my religion, but in the event that I do come to attack you, now you're gonna call me a jihadi because I'm defending my religion. You're gonna call me the aggressor because you're the one who called my religion a devil religion. This is my way of life. This is my truth. I don't go to other people telling you what you say is wrong. Look, I have non-Muslim friends. They don't try to push nothing on me. I don't try to push nothing on them because they see what I do. I see what they do. What I do, I believe is the truth. What they do, they believe is the truth. They're in their way, I'm in my way. That's exactly how we operate. And we're still friends. Because I don't use religion to say, I hate you now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, in a field of battle, maybe they won't be my ally because I'm fighting for Islam. That's the only reason I want to fight, right? But I'm not out here trying to judge someone based on their religious belief, just like I don't judge someone based on their political beliefs. I've seen people who hate people just because they side with one side, like a Democratic or in a Republican. They hate one or the other. Like, why do you use those types of things to judge someone based on their based on whatever they believe in? Like, everybody's entitled to their beliefs, but at the end, once it's against yours, now you have a problem with it. Just because someone has an opinion that's different from yours, now you have a problem. Now they're a bad guy. How come you're not the bad guy?
There is no problem with having differing views, but when you attack another view, like That is a problem.
Is that what your faith taught you?
What does Allah say in chapter number 6, verse 108? He says, do not disrespect their false gods. Allah also says, there's plenty of verses in the Quran. Allah says, don't disrespect their false gods. Allah says, lakum dinukum waliya din. You to your religion, me to my religion. La ikraha fid din. There's no compulsion in religion. And, so much more. Look, think about it. Even logical. Going back to logic, because I'm going to bring logic up a lot in this episode. Think about this. Who's going to be in the lowest part of hellfire?
The hypocrite.
The hypocrites. If we forced our religion onto people and we forced it upon them, meaning they wouldn't actually believe it, right? They would just say it on their tongue just to save themselves from getting killed or harassed or whatever. They are a hypocrite. Why would Islam want to create more hypocrites if that's exactly who it goes against the most?
Yeah, the crazy part is I've seen a lot of people say that Islam is an oppressive religion and that we spread by the sword. No, we did not, dude. Every single battle that the Muslims were in, we were in the minority and the offenders were in the majority. They fought us, we defended our religion.
Okay. How about this? How come when Islam takes over a land or conquers a nation, how come their original language is still here today? Look at Indonesia, for example. The biggest Muslim country, not a single war fought. How can they explain this? But yet they're these liberal countries, like the West, all these, Western countries, right, with all these Western values, they spread by the sword, and yet they are so against it. They say everyone's free to practice and live by their own religion, unless you go against liberalism. If your religion goes against that, then you're not free to practice it. What the hypocrisy in that?
Yes, it is hypocrisy, and it just reveals more truth in Islam.
Like it's a clear contradiction right there.
It reveals more truth to Islam. Wallahi, it does.
Look, I could never side with another religion just because of the truth I saw in Islam. Like, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asks you, which of your favors will you deny of your Lord? He's giving you oxygen to breathe. He's giving people a roof over their heads. He's giving you the sky, the stars, the galaxies, the planets. You live on an earth that has oxygen. As far as you know, this is the only earth that has oxygen, because you haven't seen another earth that has one. You haven't seen another earth that has living human beings. Just because you may believe it's out there because the universe is so vast and it's expanding and all this, you have no proof yet. You can believe what you want to believe, but at the end of the day, you don't want to believe the one that's created you. You don't want to thank the one that's created you. You don't want to you want to deny all the favors your Lord is giving you, acting like you have entitled, acting like you're entitled to live on this earth. You want to say something like, "Oh, I didn't ask to be here." Then why are you here? Huh? Why are you here? Go ahead, do what you want to do. You want to say that, "Oh yeah, I didn't ask to be in my body," or "I didn't ask to live. I should sue my parents because I didn't ask to be born." You're funny. No, you're not. Come on, man. At the end of the day, you're here and you will be tested and you will be tried on the day of judgment. You can choose to believe me or you can choose not to believe me. But at the end of the day, what we say is truth. And I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth no more for any of these people. For anybody who's out there and people want to say, "Oh, I'm unhinged." No, I'm passionate about my religion because I have faith. Faith is the rid of doubt. I have no doubt in my heart that what I believe is true. And that's how we all feel.
What people nowadays, they look for a lot in other people, right, is reassurance, right? So let's say from their significant other, their family, they look for a lot of reassurance. In the Quran has so much reassurance. Allah says, so that for those who ponder, for those who think, right? And things like this, or for those who, Allah talks about how He sends His signs, or Allah talks about had it been from Allah, it'd have many contradictions.
Yes.
Or it talks about how if you're in doubt of what we have sent down to our slave Muhammad, then produce even a single chapter like it, right? What's the smallest chapter in the Quran? Surah Al-Kawthar, right? 3 verses. Yet to this day, no one has even lived up to that challenge. And Allah says in that next verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, He says, and if you do not do it, and you can never do it, then fear the fire.
Yeah, that's a bold challenge for a false prophet. That's a bold claim. And it's been 1,400 years. There's no one to challenge it. The challenge has never been completed and never will be completed.
They still have nothing to say to the fact that our prophet was illiterate. He couldn't read. He couldn't write.
And he came with a book.
Yeah,
the Quran was a verbal revelation.
Yeah, but still, when it's written out, how many pages is it? It's over 600 pages. You think a man who was illiterate
with the eloquence of the Quran and the linguistic miracles that it holds within it? Bro, the word day is mentioned 365 times in the Quran.
Month is mentioned 12
times. All these little tiny miracles in the Quran that could only be, in Surah Hadid, it says we sent down iron. This is God speaking. We sent down iron to mankind, to the earth. We sent down iron. You might think, if you're a regular person, is iron originally from earth? It's not. It came from an outside source. This is the men. Like, think about the men of science. Look at this. Look at this and tell me that this is not from God. If the Quran was from other than God, you would find many contradictions. Why wouldn't it contradict this? Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't there be inconsistencies?
And you talk about iron being sent down, right? How about this? At a time, right, people didn't believe the sun and the moon had an orbit. But in the Quran, it says it had an orbit. So meaning at that time, the Quran would have been wrong. But now science has discovered that the sun and moon have an orbit. Yeah, it might be a slow orbit, but it has an orbit. So meaning now the Quran just proved science again. So
Yeah, the Quran proves science.
Exactly. The Quran proves science.
Not the other way around.
You know, at this point, right, if the Quran tells me something and it goes against science today, I'm going to take the Quran.
Take the Quran word.
And like a lot of people who either don't practice Islam or are not Muslim, they like to look at like the prohibitions that are in the Quran. 3% of the Quran is prohibitions. Out of everything said in the book, 3% of it is prohibition. And everything in it is for the betterment of mankind. Yeah. You look at all the things that are prohibited, like, look.
Like alcohol, for example.
Gambling,
alcohol.
First up, gambling is very addictive. Alcohol, very addictive. Also, you can't pray when you're intoxicated because you can't focus. You can't focus when you're intoxicated.
Yes.
You're like,
and go look at go look at most domestic violence cases. They were alcoholics. The men were alcoholics and they beat their women. Bro, it's just for the betterment. If you remove alcohol from society, it's better for it. Think it, bro. It's just.
What are they gonna ask you? What, you never had a little bit of fun?
Like every single prohibition is for the betterment of society. It's betterness for yourself. That's what Islam is. And then the people, they'll go and they'll just call you a devil religion and then just
not even just that. Look, even take religion out of it. Think about, the rich and the poor nowadays, like let's say here in America, the rich people will discipline themselves, will go and learn things out, and they'll work hard to get to where they're at today. But then the poor people, right? I'm not talking about the poor people who didn't have a choice. I'm talking about the poor people who do have a choice and they sit around and do nothing. They're gonna tell the rich, oh, it was luck. They're gonna tell them they didn't do anything for that, or the rich are so corrupt and this and that. But like, what have you done to? Or you're just sitting here and ridiculing them and slandering them. Is that going to get you out of your place?
Yeah, it's just
and the same thing with the beliefs. If someone has come here with truth and it makes sense on top of that, you're just going to sit here and
you're just going to ridicule them because it opposes your own.
You're lying to yourself.
Look, all we've done here is try to spread the beauty of Islam. All we've done here is shown people like the topics we talk about. There is always truth in it because Islam is the truth. That's all we believe. And then people want to bash us. They want to attack us.
I mean, barely.
And I don't take it as an attack on me. I take it as an attack on Islam. You're attacking my way of life and over 2 billion people in the world's way of life. Like, this is not something to play about. This isn't something that you could just say and then you can get it away with. Because then when like we come at you, or when we come back at you, now we're the bad guys. Like, everybody will see us as the bad guy in any situation. It's portrayed in the media all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody portrays Islam the way it's supposed to be portrayed in the media because they want to twist our image.
But then again, have any other way of life, sect, religion, anything you want to call it, bashed like how Islam was bashed. Like they would have fallen. Islam has been here since day one. Since day one of Earth. It's been here since day one.
Listen, look, as a Muslim, like it really kind of frustrated me when I saw someone like True Jordy tell Andrew Tate to blow himself up, and he got away with that. And then he makes an apology video, and everybody takes his apology, saying, "Oh, I accept his apology." Like, bro, how can he say something like that? First off, he's speaking about terrorism, something that's not to joke about, and he's telling a new revert, Andrew Tate, to try to push him away, talking about blow yourself up. How can he get away with something like that? Nobody wants to talk about that, though, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to talk about Andrew Tate saying women can't drive.
Like, but that was before Islam. But I'm just saying, like,
no. But still, they canceled Andrew Tate for that.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, if a Muslim says something wrong, it'll be all over the media. If a Muslim does anything, says something wrong, like, look, they're gonna. And the worst part about it, they're gonna put it in the title. Muslim man robs this person, whatever. Just to make Islam look even worse than what they actually do.
Like I told you, like the image of Islam, they take everything from the image, not from the person. They say, oh yeah, this is Islam. This is not, so and so. When Osama bin Laden, they said, oh yeah, this is Islam. This is not like a bad person who tries to represent Islam, who thinks he's a Muslim.
I truly think that's why a lot of people they try to bash us because they don't really understand what Islam is. I mean, we're explaining it in pretty good detail right now, but like they really don't know what it is. If they truly knew what it was, they wouldn't call it an evil religion or a devil religion. Like, you can't call a devil religion that tells you to worship one God a devil religion. It doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense.
They talk about how Islam is so oppressive, and especially so oppressive to women. Why are most reverts women? Why do we have way more reverts that are women than men? Islam is still the fastest growing religion today, even with all the propagandas and whatever that they have against Islam.
Because the truth will always prevail. Look, we as fellow, like for my fellow Muslims out there, you should not be ashamed to wear Islam on your sleeve. Like me growing up, I didn't wear Islam always on my sleeve because I didn't know what it truly meant to be a Muslim. I didn't know the truth that was behind being a Muslim. Like the fact that Islam means submission to one God. I did not know that until I truly found Islam for myself. Like you won't truly find the beauty of being a Muslim, like that true peace and that humbleness until you find Islam for yourself, until you start going to watch lectures, watch khutbahs, read books, watch videos, anything.
Yeah, read a book.
Related to Islam, reading the Quran and truly finding out the meaning of the words that you're reading. You won't truly find that beauty and that humbleness and that peace until you look for it for yourself. You can't, people can put it on you, but it's not going to feel as good until you find it for yourself. I'm here telling you right now from someone who experienced it himself, there is no better feeling than me finding Islam for myself. I've been told by other Muslims, a Muslim won't truly be happy in this world because this world's meant to be a prison and the paradise is meant to be like your true reward. But no, I found true happiness because I found Islam. Islam is all that I need. That's what Allah has told me. That is what Allah tells us in the Quran. That's the way the Prophet ﷺ lived. He could have lived as the richest king of all time, but he chose to live as a poor and humble servant and he was still happy. With all the loss that he went through, he was still happy. And why should I be any different? I'm very fortunate with the life I live right now. I've been able to start a podcast with my brothers right here. And I'm still standing, and until the day I die, I will feel this peace and I'll feel this happiness because I count my blessings because Allah has blessed me with so much. The ability to just see, the ability to just talk and speak on great things about Islam.
Exactly.
That's all truth.
And, going back to, like I said, the media is going to do whatever it takes to take Islam down. All these other religions are going to do whatever it takes to get rid of Islam. But, they're not going to be able to. And that's the best part about it. They do all of this. They talk what they want to talk. But at the end of the day, the truth still prevails. Islam is still the fastest growing religion. Allah says in the Quran, they want to extinguish Allah's light. But Allah will not allow except his light be perfected. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And it's going to continue to go down that path. And Allah's light is going to be perfected in all parts of the world.
Yeah. Look, bro, it's crazy to me because some people want to try to come at us as Muslims. Like, bro, look at the Prophet ﷺ. First off, he didn't grow up with his father, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so who was the next person in line that took care of him? His uncle, right? Abu Talib. Mm-hmm. And what was he? A kafir. He was a non-believer, never believed. His nephew, literally nephew, was a prophet, the greatest prophet to ever live, right? Mm-hmm. A messenger. And he never believed in Islam. He chose not to believe it. Even though he protected the prophet, right? He still never believed. That was his biggest op. And look at this. And look at Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. His dad was truly his biggest op. His own father didn't believe that he was a prophet. Khalil Allah, the person named the friend of Allah, his dad didn't even believe. His dad had idols sitting in a room and he worshipped them. Prophet Ibrahim went there and he destroyed the idols and said, look, why didn't they protect themselves? And they still didn't believe. They still didn't believe that there was one true God out there, the one who takes the sun away and brings the moon, who brings the light and who brings the dark.
And who raised Musa, Fir'aun's wife, and who's Fir'aun?
The worst of mankind.
And
but
so
look,
on.
What I'm saying is that we're always gonna have people who don't want to see us succeed. Yeah, we're always gonna have ops. We're gonna have people that don't want to see.
I'm not gonna sit here and bash ops. Like we spread Islam just so for the betterment of you, so that you're not an op anymore. Maybe you can be with us. But
no. But I was saying how it said. Don't just look at what your forefathers do and follow them. Look, Prophet Ibrahim's dad, he was a non-believer. So he left his dad. He couldn't associate himself with his dad because his dad was a non-believer because he was going to bring him down. He's going to drag him away from Islam. Abu Talib, he may have protected the Prophet ﷺ, but while he was getting his revelation, he didn't associate with him because I was a non-believer. He tried to get him, but then it got to a point where he was said, all right, I got to just leave you. Like in Surah Tariq, the last ayah says, فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. It says, leave the non-believers for a while. Leave them. They're not going to believe because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he tells you some people they just won't believe.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to be guided, so Allah will not guide them. Allah guides whom he wills.
Yeah, the disbelievers ask, what does Allah intend by this parable? By it, he misleads many and many he guides, but he only misleads those who are rebellious. So if you're not seeking the guidance, you will not be guided. But if you are truly seeking the guidance and you are a genuine person and you are sincere in your heart, you will be guided, inshallah. And inshallah, make to Jannah.
Yeah, for real. It's like, bro, there were so many things that I saw truth in Islam. Like, for one, you know, I saw my brother here. He was practicing heavy, and I was like, you know what he's doing. Like, it truly gets to the point. What my point right now is, where I'm saying is, look at the people around you. Like, my brother's here. He was practicing, and I was looking at him. I was like, oh shoot, man, what he's doing, like, it's crazy. Like, I gotta look into that, because he had knowledge that I didn't have, and it really gets to a competition, because I was like, nah, you know what, I need more knowledge than him. That's why we started like this trivia thing on TikTok, because I was like, you know what, we want to test our knowledge, and that's a way to test our knowledge, where you get punished, type of thing. And I was like, it got to a point where I was like, no, you know what, I need to know more than him. I need to memorize more Quran than him. That's why in this past Ramadan, I memorized as much Quran as I could. I don't know how many surahs I memorized, but I memorized a decent amount, because I was like, you know, I have to memorize more than him. I have to, because even though he's my brother, like, I'm gonna compete with him. You know, I want to know more. I want to be the one that's like, no, I'm gonna teach you and you don't teach me, because I'm older. Like, I'm supposed to be setting the example, you know, that type of thing. And the lesson here is like, watch who you're around. And now all three of us, you know, we have some decent knowledge, and we're trying to learn more. We're still students, obviously,
Yeah,
but
like the more we read, the more our faith gets strengthened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the more we read the Quran, the more we see the hidden wisdoms, the truths, and the tafsir, bro. You see the explanations. It makes so much more sense.
And on top of that, going back to that, the more I look at other religions, other ways of life, the more I look into the scripture, the more my faith in Islam increases. Because what is Islam doing? Islam doesn't harm me in the least amount of way. It's only there to make me a better person.
Yes, because you can't go wrong with Islam.
Exactly. You can't.
What are you gonna say? We don't follow the Christians. They'll say, "Oh, you guys don't accept Jesus." We accept Jesus. He's one of the mightiest messengers of God. We love him. We adore him. We follow his message, his true message.
Yeah,
We're the true Christians.
The true
yeah,
Christians.
look, people tell me, yeah, Jesus loves you. Yeah, no, I love Jesus
him too.
I love Prophet Isa alayhi salam too, but I don't love him as God. I love him as a prophet.
Yeah.
You know, I love him as a messenger. The way he was sent, the way we believe he was sent. If you don't believe that, that's fine.
That's fine.
But
You
don't try to just push your message onto me without some substance, without some truth behind your message, because what I find contradictions. I find things that, like, it's hard to believe if you want to preach Christianity to me. But Islam was full truth from the get-go for me. There was no questions that I asked that couldn't be answered, which was crazy to me, because I was like, every single question that I had, I found an answer to, which was like, and then it got to the point where I was like, dang, man, like, I can't disprove it. Like,
Exactly.
So I gotta follow.
Going back, you know, Jesus was a Muslim. Moses was a Muslim.
Yes.
Noah was a Muslim. They were all, Adam was a Muslim. Muhammad was a Muslim. Peace be upon all the prophets. As you see, a Muslim will say, peace be upon all the prophets, right? Because we love all the prophets. You will never see a Muslim disrespect Jesus. But you see a lot of Christians, they'll disrespect Muhammad. They'll
also disrespect Jesus by calling him the Son of God. How dare you? How dare you? Don't do that.
Very true. Like, look, going to Shirk, actually, you know, I'm going to address Shirk really fast. For those of you who don't know what Shirk is, you know, non-Muslims or Muslims who have very little knowledge of what Shirk is, Shirk is the worst sin you can commit, right, in Islam. Shirk is basically you associating any partners with or deities with Allah or besides Allah, right? Just imagine, right? I want you guys to think of this. Let me describe like something very bad for you guys. Imagine this. Imagine a guy. He rapes his mother. Then on top of that, he rapes his entire family. He cuts all their heads off. He pees on all of them. He buries them, right? And then not on top of that, he blows up their graves. And then next thing you know, he goes to his neighbors and does the same thing, right? The one who says Allah has a son is worse than that. Has committed a worse deed than that. Imagine, look how small the earth is. Look how small, you know, the earth is compared to other planets and to other stars, right? Imagine you say the one who created all of that, and you go and thank somebody else. You were given such a great life here, and you go and thank
wallahi, look, you want to see the ungratefulness of humankind? Look, imagine this. Look at this scenario. You have a man, he's in the hospital. He doesn't have a lung. He has one lung. He doesn't have two. He has one lung. And then you have a man who donates his lung to him. Everyone will praise that man, revere that man, adore that man. But what about the God that gave you two lungs from the beginning? He gave you two eyes as well. He gave you a whole bunch of organs. And then you're not going to praise him? You're just going to forget about him?
He gave you the opportunity.
He gave you opportunity as well. You're just going to forget about him? Like, imagine the crime. People don't understand that as a crime. That is atrocious. How can you be ungrateful to this?
Because look, we live in a time where a lot of people say, if I can't see it, I don't believe it. But like that's
we don't- hold on.
it's an L mindset, bro.
Even going back, like,
Stupid
look,
mindset.
forget about the example I just gave, right? Let's go back to even more of a simple example. Let's say you have a wife or a husband, right? And they go out and cheat on you with your money. And they say, this is the money that they made. And they go spend it on this other person. And they lie about you. And they do this and that, right? How disrespected would you feel? You would feel, bro, you would want to kill this person. You're going to be like, how dare you go and spend my money that I give you and say it's from you. And on top of that, you cheat on me with that money. Like, no, you're gonna have so much hatred in your heart for this person. Now imagine the one who created the heavens and the earth, and the one that created you, the one that provided for you, the one who gave you sustenance, the one that gave you life. And you just disbelieve in him. Or on top of that, you associate someone with him. Or on top of that, you believe in something other than him. You say, like, let's say if I was to start worshiping this microphone right here, saying, you know, this right here was the creator of the heavens and the earth and created me, and like, no. And on top of that, I could create this microphone by my hand.
It's crazy.
Look, I told y'all to watch like.
Wait, hold on. I have one more thing to add on. And to those who say, if I don't see it, I don't believe it, dude. If your wife goes and cheats on you, you didn't see it, you don't believe it.
Hold on. What about gravity? Yeah, you see the signs of gravity, but do you see gravity itself? Are you going to disbelieve in gravity too? We see the signs of Allah everywhere. The fact that I'm here talking to you is a sign. The fact that the grass grows is a sign. The fact that you are breathing is a sign.
The fact that the Quran declares that humans were given dominion over the earth and not any other animal, it's a sign.
Exactly.
The fact that we have dominion over the earth, we run the earth. No other animal, no other species runs the earth except us.
The fact that we not just evolve, but we innovate too. Like we've created like things like, oh, the cell phone was given to us because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the ability to think. He gave us the ability to increase in knowledge, to expand ourselves, to be able to like expand like our knowledge into things from like boats to cars to planes to electric cars. Now, there's all these types of things, these innovations that humans have been able to create, and they don't want to take it back to the fact that they don't want to humble themselves to the fact that, you know, there was something that created them, you know, that Allah created them and gave them the ability to do all of this.
Those innovations, first of all, we're going to ask, did those innovations just come from nothing? If I was to say, like, those boats, those cars, those phones just come from nothing, you look at me like I got 3 eyes. Or on top of that, listen, were those innovations, were they created by desires or were they created with precise engineering? You need to think about that too. Like, had the heavens and the earth been created with human being desires, you know, it wouldn't be able to run. It'd crumble. It'd be crushed.
Well, remember who like is around you, especially as a Muslim. Like, the thing is, for me, I've been hanging around my Muslim brothers, like the people I've grown up with, especially since I was a kid, for a long time. And every single time we hang out with each other, we always go to the mosque and we chill there. You know, we pray Jama'ah with the Imam, and we just chill there. We just talk. We talk Islam. We talk like knowledge and all this type of stuff. And it's not a coincidence anymore because it happens so often every single time we're with each other. And that's a lesson for all of like my fellow Muslims out there who want to, you know, look at the people who
and increase their faith.
Yeah, who you stay around. You know, think about it like the people you would want to meet in Jannah, the people you would want to hang out in Jannah and be like, yeah, where's so-and-so? And then you can find them in Jannah. And the fact that, you know, like the people who bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the people who would tell you, oh yeah, let's go pray.
And it's also
do you know about this and this? Or do you know about this prophet? Or, you know, they ask questions, or y'all play like Islamic games, those types of things. You know, like having that type of connection with people in a way that's like just more than just fun. It's like fun in the fact that you also know that you're increasing your faith at the moment. Yeah, you're benefiting from it at all times.
Exactly.
Like, think about it like this. If someone comes out of a room full of smokers, your brain is already going to recognize. You're going to start thinking, maybe he was smoking too. You're going to think about that automatically. You're going to be like, oh, he was just one of them. If someone comes out of a room full of people that were studying, comes out of a library, your brain is going to think about that they were already reading. Your brain already recognizes the fact that you're a product of those who you hang around. You understand? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Exactly. You're the average of the 5 people you hang around. Yeah. You hang around 5 idiots, you'll be the 6th. You hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th. You start hanging around Muslims, inshallah, you'll be the next one guy.
And you see the case with some of our non-Muslim friends. A lot of them are already becoming Muslims.
A lot of them.
Wallahi, mashallah, we already have one who's going to take his shahada.
Alhamdulillah.
Look, alhamdulillah.
It's not even about anything materialistic. It's just the fact that, like, if you hang around non-Muslims and, you know, maybe they're respectful of Islam, maybe they push you to be a better Muslim, then that's cool too. But I'm saying when you have Muslim friends as well, you know, especially Muslim friends who practice, not no Muslim by name. I don't want no munafiq around me, bro. I don't want someone who calls themselves a Muslim and just like just wears the name Muslim on their sleeve, but they're not a Muslim at all. You know, they don't pray, they don't read Quran, they don't even know who our freaking prophet is. You know, I don't want none of that. I want a Muslim friend who wants to seek knowledge with me, who wants to ask me questions and I can ask them questions, who wants to be like, all right, who's leading prayer?
Plus,
you know,
like,
that's what we do. We're out here, we're sitting in the mosque, we're like, all right, who's leading? And we're all arguing to see who's leading because we know the reward about who leads prayer.
yeah, it's like, bro, like, I don't want someone who's weak around me. Nobody does. Like, dude, when I'm rolling with my Muslim friends, I know that if someone were to attack us off of our religion, dude, we would completely destroy that person.
Intellectually, don't before you think terrorism and all this.
Look, because we've had people try to argue on us because of our religion. Bro, we've even had people ask us when we walk together. People they just notice us. They'll just be like, "Where are you guys from? Where are your brothers from? Oh, you guys are Muslims." Remember that one time in the gas station? Well, like, it's crazy.
yeah. Look, for like as a Muslim, you gotta understand the word tawakkul. You know, having trust in Allah. A lot of people tell me, "Oh yeah, you lack so much fear. You're like you have no fear in your heart or whatever." I'm like, "Nah, I do have fear, but I have fear for the one who created me only. I don't have fear for nothing that He created because what He created, I'm just like them. I'm a creation too. There's no reason for me to fear another man because a man has to sleep, a man has to eat, a man has to drink just like me. He has to breathe just like me. A lot of people be like, "Oh no, be careful, this, then that." I'm like, hey. I said Ayatul Kursi, I said my du'as, you know, I pray to Allah. I have trust in Allah. Allah is all I need. I don't need nobody else, you know. I don't have to carry a stick on me because I'm afraid someone's going to come at me.
No,
exactly. What am I going to do?
I'll have protection with me. I
always got that fire on me.
But listen, having that tawakkul in Allah, there's nothing like it. And a lot of these people out here, they lack it. People who don't have Islam, they're going to lack that trust because they're out here thinking of someone else that they call God. You know, I'm thinking the one true God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nothing greater than that, being able to have that trust in Allah. You know, it's one of the hardest things, I'm not gonna lie. It took me a while to finally find like that true trust. The trust that where I heard a story of a man who he was a prisoner of war and he was a Muslim and he was about to get killed. And like everybody around him, they're all screaming, they're all trying to cry, they're all begging for their life. He's the only one out sitting there, and he said the shahada. He didn't die, he didn't end up dying, but he said the shahada because he had no fear in his heart. He said, you know, if I'm gonna die right now, I'm dying in the way of Allah.
Yeah, you wanna know a reason why Islam has to be the truth. Look, you can call me crazy for this, but dude, a Muslim man, you literally can't hurt him. What are you gonna do? Like, if a Muslim man were to go against, if you were to tell a Muslim man to leave Islam and he told you no, what are you gonna do to him? You're gonna put him in prison. He'll just make a dhikr of Allah. You're gonna kill him. He's gonna go to Jannah. You're gonna kill him. I mean, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna deprive him of his hunger, dude. Exactly. He just died, and then you'll send him back to Allah. You'll send him back to his creator. You can't do anything to him. What else? I'm trying to think of things that you could possibly do to him, and I can't.
A Muslim wants to meet Allah. That is the greatest reward, is to be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah. This is the greatest reward. There is no greater reward than that. Mm-hmm. And look, even going back to, like you said, you know, they're worried about their gods and we're worried about the one true God. Look, by definition, the way Allah describes himself in the Quran, we don't put any of our desires on how we describe God. We only know Allah from what he has told us about himself in the Quran. And by definition of what he says in the Quran, you cannot ascribe anything that is any more powerful than that. The all-knowing, the all-wise, the most powerful, the most high. You can't ascribe anything more powerful than that, more high than that. There is nothing. Like, what are you gonna say? This idol right here is more powerful.
I hate when people say, oh, you guys worship a God named Allah. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the moon god or whatever they want to say.
Like, what are you talking about, bro? Allah is the one true God.
Yeah, that is not the name. Yeah. That means just the God. Illah is God. Allah is al-Illah, like Allah, the God.
Look, Allah, the one true God, is not a man. He's not a fish. He's not a woman. He's not any of that stuff. He's above all of that. He is the one true creator. Like, especially like when they try to bring about arguments talking about Allah's face, Allah's hand, like what Allah says in the Quran, right? You know, Allah has sifat, Allah has characteristics, right? And they try to ascribe these, you know, the same way that in human likes. Like when I say the foot of the mountain or the face of the mountain, it's not the same as us, as human beings. Like how dare you ascribe that to the Most High? Just because, you know.
And then they'll say that that God has taken a son. Like, what are you gonna mean? What do you mean? God has offspring? Like, what are you talking about?
Dog, are you serious right now, bro?
Like, bro, you've done an atrocious thing. You've done a terrible thing. Like imagine, bro. You know, I once heard that. Like, actually, I'm not even gonna speak on that.
What?
No, it's not valid. It's not valid.
Look, it says, "Glory be to Allah above all which they associate with Him."
You know what faith do you see like as a Muslim, me, when I go to pray to Allah, I say, Allah, you are the capable. I am not capable. I say, Allah, you are knowing. I am not knowing. I say, Allah, you are the seeing. I am not the seeing. I say, Allah, you are the greatest. I am not. I am nothing without you, Ya Allah. How many people can say that? You know, how many, even as a Muslim, how many Muslims are out here saying that stuff when they're praying? How many people acknowledge that they are nothing without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That, you know, there's nothing possible for you without the, you know, the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, if you do good on a test, how many people are out here thinking only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying Allah did this for me? Even though I studied, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave me the ability to remember the knowledge that I just learned and do well on the test.
Yeah, without a shout out.
How many times in your life, right? Just think about it. Like all the viewers that are watching, how many times in your life have you wanted something so bad, or you strive for something so hard in your life and it didn't end up happening? Because Allah shows you, you are not the one in control. Mm-hmm. He's the one in control.
He could strip anything from you at any time.
Look, for people listening, watching, you guys will know this too. We posted two clips back to back that went viral from our episode talking about entertaining, backbiting, and slandering. Mm-hmm. They both went very viral. First thing I did was say Subhanallah like 100 times. Because I was like, I attribute this only to Allah because I do this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, we were speaking about, you know, Islam, the way of Allah, you know, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, you know, this type of stuff. But all of this was attributed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He allowed it to go viral. You know, he said he willed it for this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan was put into fruition long before I was here. So He knew exactly what was going to happen long before me. So I attributed that only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to me, not to what I said, not to what he said, not to what you said, nothing like that. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us His knowledge. He gave us the ability to have this knowledge.
We didn't even congratulate each other. We just said Alhamdulillah.
Exactly. We said Alhamdulillah because look, listen, did we expect to go viral like that?
No,
we didn't. We didn't expect to start doing that good. Like, no, we never did. And all of a sudden it just did. From the get-go, Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Like it just, from the get-go, we just started, you know, getting a lot of views, and alhamdulillah for all the viewers that are watching, you know. And like, may Allah guide you if Muslim or non-Muslim. May Allah guide us too. You know,
but that's just an example of like, you know, we saw something good, but all we did was thank Allah straight away. You know, because you got to count your blessings, you know, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He can take that away in an instant.
And that's one of the wisdom that Islam teaches us. It's a great way to live. Wallahi, it's a great way to live.
Imagine the humbleness, the gratefulness. A lot of people nowadays, they
humility.
like both of those. Yeah. And you see, they wonder why they're miserable.
Mm-hmm. All right, look.
We are of the Muslims are of the people who can truly say that they are not miserable. They are not miserable on this earth, and they're not miserable. They're looking forward to what's to come. Yeah, they're a true Muslim.
I'm never gonna disrespect anybody's way of life because I've known people who don't believe in Islam, and I've never tried to push it onto them.
And you don't degrade them. They're still human beings. You don't degrade them because of what they believe in.
My non-Muslim friends, they know who they are. They may ask me questions about Islam. You know, I'll tell them, and they'll tell me, oh yeah, you know, Islam is cool, like, or it's a beautiful religion, this type of stuff, and or they really respect me for how strong I am in my religion. I say it's not me. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides whether I'm strong or not. But look, I'm never going to try to push it onto somebody, and I'm never going to like disrespect somebody or attack somebody for their way of life. Because who am I to like speak on somebody else's way of life when this is my way of life? And, you know, not everybody is the same.
And you've been blessed with the guidance.
You know, I believe I'm guided. Whether I believe you're guided or not is not it's not on me. You know, you have your own consciousness. You have your own ability to think for yourself. Now, I've seen a TV show where they were like, obviously, a TV show may not be a good example, but, you know, I'm going to speak on it anyway. It was like, as a Christian, we have a duty to want to save our fellow non-Christians from damnation. I was like, do you though? Like, you can tell them, you can like inform them, but you can't say, oh yeah, you're going to hell if you don't believe. Because at the end of the day, who are we to tell someone you're going to hell?
Yeah, because then what if they convert later on in life?
Exactly.
And the other thing is like going back to disrespecting a non-Muslim. Like, look, what does Allah say in the Quran? We have honored all children of Adam, all children. So that means disbeliever or a believer, right?
Yes. And whether you like it,
at the end of the day, they are a human being. No matter what they follow, you know, Allah will, you know, deal with them accordingly.
Yes. Whether you like it or not, if you've walked on the earth, you've been blessed with the honor of Allah. You've been honored with the blessings of Allah. He's giving you eyesight. He's giving you the ability to talk, ability to think, ability to have free will. There's creation out there that don't have free will. You have the ability to choose. Allah gave you that right. Whether you choose to do right, whether you choose to do wrong, it is up to you. Everything is ultimately up to you. You have the choice. A lot of people believe that their fate is written, but you still have the choice. You still have free will.
Allah knows exactly what you do, no matter what decision you make. Obviously, you know, the faith, the ultimate decision is written. Everything is written.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, Allah
It is
knows
written.
exactly
Yes.
what would happen, which way you go.
Yes.
If you go in a circle, Allah knows exactly what would happen. Like, but look, to close this out, I want to say something. The first thing that we were told when we asked like what we should do when giving da'wah to the sheikh, he knows exactly because he's the one who asked the question. We were told, remember, everybody's a human being.
Yes,
it wasn't.
that was
Remember,
me.
people are Muslim,
Yeah.
people are non-Muslim. Remember, everybody's a human being.
We're all
Everybody
Bani
has-
Adam.
Yeah, we're all Bani Adam. Everybody has feelings. Everybody has a way that they were growing up. Like you never know anybody's situation. You never know what anybody's going through. So you have to always speak kindly to people. You can't speak harshly to people. You can't attack people. Especially if you're speaking of Islam, you need to speak in a well manner. You have to speak in the way that the Prophet ﷺ, he spoke. That the person that everybody wants to embody, you have to speak in that way. You have to speak in a way that people would want to come to Islam. Like speak in a way that you would speak to yourself. How would you speak to yourself if you were gonna go ahead and speak about Islam? Like ask yourself those questions. For the people out there.
Yeah, you don't want to, like Islam, like the Quran says, don't disrespect their false gods. Don't disrespect.
Yeah.
It's not good on any part.
Yeah, we're just here to spread love, man. We're here to spread positivity. But with that being said, I really enjoyed our talk here, man, today. But thank you for taking this Deentour with us. If you've made it to the end, and it's been a pleasure. May Allah reward us all. May Allah forgive us all. And I hope we all meet in Jannah one day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
All right, just to remind you guys, like always, we're not scholars. We're students of knowledge. We're still out here learning the information. We're open to, we're open to be corrected, right? And with that being said, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.